Clinic imefunguliwa. Today is Wednesday. We have the financial clinic as always. I have 2 doctors in the house ready to sort you out today. Bench nimeweka nje kama kawaida. Sanitize. So mkae pole pole na maswali as we talk about employment and side hustles. And I'm asking you, do you have a side hustle? How is that going for you? Let me know on 20316 for SMS, WhatsApp 0786316316. Today we get to hang out with HR expert and founder, CEO of Talent Gurus 254. Pauline Kiraithe, how are you doing? You're on mute. Picture but no sound. Unmute yourself.
Yes. Thank you.
There you go.
I am good.
Karibu sana. We are glad to have you today. We also have CEO Tilvera Consulting, Modhoni Mushai. Karibu sana. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's good to have both of you. Today, want to see if I will start a side hustle or not. You know, the whole conversation around side hustles, Pauline, today is something so common. Everybody is talking about a side hustle, wanting to do something on the side. One job is not enough. You need to have something on the side. But today I want us to look at what are some key things for somebody who's employed, key things they need to know before they jump into the side hustle, because everybody is saying start a side hustle. So where do you want to begin us off? Here I am employed, I'm thinking of a side hustle. What are some key things I need to consider before I even jump into this thing?
Okay, so for me, first of all, let's start with defining what a side hustle is. Because I think everybody is into the praise of getting into a side hustle.
Yes.
So first of all, if you Google what side hustle means, it has actually a negative connotation.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It actually means illegal. It means con job. It means trickery, you know? Yeah, but I know in the sense when we refer to side hustle, it just basically means working and doing the best that you can every day. Yeah, so I think that's the meaning when people say they want to start a side hustle. Yeah, but I think for me, how I look at side hustling, I think the premise of where it began, it's actually in the Bible. Yeah, it starts with the Bible where God says in Ecclesiastes 11:1-2, where it says that you should be able to invest your money in more than one venture. Yeah, invest. The word here is invest. Yeah, and then there's also another verse in the Bible that says you cannot serve more than one master at the same time. Yeah. So those are the 2 pertinent verses we need to think about. But I think the other key thing for me and the key premise that I look at side hustling is we were never created to just be employed.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We were never created to be employed for the rest of our lives. If you look at the working life expectancy and how long people are working, you can actually now work for almost 50 years. Yeah, good productive 50 years.
Yeah.
So you can imagine if you have worked for this employer and at 50 they retire you, it means you have another 25 years. You can imagine if you've been working for this employer and that's the only thing you know, and there's nothing else you've done other than work for that one employer.
Very true.
Yeah, it means you'll have nothing to go to. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that I'm encouraging side hustling. What I'm saying is, and you've heard the verses.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you're in the workplace, also know that you have to be investing in yourself for your future. Yeah, because in this lifetime we have two halves actually. There's the first half of your life and the second half. The first half of your life is when you're in employment, you're meant to be gaining skills and experiences. And we're hoping that when you get enough experiences, you should be able to venture out, to move into your own business so that you can create employment and also release jobs for others, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how teachers should move. Yeah.
Yes.
So for me, my view is, well, in the workplace, you need to look at your time in the sense that you have 24 hours every day. 8 hours to sleep, 8 hours to work, but you have 8 hours that are called your discretionary time. Those 8 hours are the ones you need to think of how you're going to be investing for that future.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you start another organization and so your time is split between you working for your employer and that other organization. That discretionary time you can be using to perfect your gift, refine your gift, the thing that you eventually want to move into.
Okay.
Invest in other companies. Yeah, you can be a silent partner in other companies. Invest in the stock exchange, but it doesn't mean that you should split your time, because the truth is you cannot be a master of two masters. You
can't serve two masters. I'm just wondering, Modhoni, are there for somebody who's thinking of starting something on the side, are there different kinds of side hustles? And if yes, in terms of how you look at them and what they require from you, and if they are, what are they?
Okay, thanks for that. So yes, there are very many types of side hustles. Now that Pauline said side hustle has a negative connotation, can we call it moonlighting? Can we have another name for it?
What do we call it?
We call it moonlighting.
Moonlighting. Okay.
Yeah. So yes, there are very many side hustles that an individual can get into. I think the things that, for me as an employer, as an owner of a company, I would feel maybe perhaps look at things that, as you say, one, adds on to your strengths, so your capacity building. Number two, they're not in conflict with your number one primary job, because then you're not going to be diligent to your number one priority, which is your employer, where you're drawing your salary from.
Yeah.
Thirdly, the legality of your moonlighting ventures, is it in conflict with what you're currently, the values or the ethics of your current employer? Regardless of having not disclosed it or whatever, it has to be obviously within the confines of the ethical boundaries of your employer. So I would say, as Pauline has rightfully said, that it shouldn't be in competition. You cannot serve two masters at the same time.
Yeah.
And also, as you're doing this, you should ask yourself, okay, I'm maybe passionate, say, about baking. Maybe I'm a marketer, I am employed in this marketing company, and I'm passionate about baking. Now, with the virtual working from home, there brings in another dynamic to that, because I'm not with the employer in the same space. I could be baking cakes downstairs or in the next room the entire time, but is it affecting my productivity at my current job? So there's so many things to think about. But for me, I think bottom line is you need to be diligent to your employer. And if it becomes too much, then let it not be a moonlight, let it be the main light, if I can say so. Focus on one thing and run with it. So that is my take about the different types of moonlighting ventures that might be out there. And also the other thing is, does it honor your credibility? So whatever you're getting into, will it jeopardize your current employer's credibility? So those are the things I would say perhaps consider. But I personally encourage side hustles as long as it does not affect your primary job.
Okay. Pauline, from a HR perspective, I think several weeks ago, there was this whole story about one of the media houses in the country and how they had told their main journalists on TV, they can no longer engage in side hustles to sikuona huko KMC, sijui harusi, sijui KMC event aina gani, and I'm just wondering, okay, can your employer dictate what kind of side hustles you can do or not, and what does one need to understand about their contract before they jump out there? Because we live in a social media driven world today with so many opportunities. What do I need to know about my contract and what I can engage in and not engage in, and how far can my employer reach to say no?
Yes. So I think especially now when we're getting jobs and when you're negotiating contracts, you need to be more discerning.
Yes.
Because I think the thing is, over the longest time, employees would take what they're given. Whatever contract you're given, you'd sign and say nitafanya. But now the world has changed. There are more opportunities. The world has become flat, literally.
Yes.
We're all digital. We're all digital. Opportunities are open for everybody. So there are many ventures you can get into. So I think the thing is, as an employee, you need to be more discerning about the contracts you're signing up. Yeah, because like, for example, a presenter, there are so many opportunities. There are many ways you can still use your voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, when you're signing that contract, also negotiate, because you remember it's two equal parties who are negotiating. Say, you know what, right now for me, and actually we are moving now to the gig economy.
Yes.
With the fourth industrial revolution, it's not a matter of you owning an employee. The truth is, the war for talent is actually going to increase. The people who are good will actually have more opportunities.
Yes.
Yeah. And more people will want to work. So what will happen is that employees will be selling a portion of their time with you. So it's no longer that one of I'm signing a contract and you own me for 365 days in a year. No. It's actually you'll be owning a portion of my time. So the thing is, when you're signing contracts, be very clear about what you're signing up for. And you tell them, you know what, I am selling for you. This is my time, the portion of my time that I will be able to give you. Because in my other life, these are the other things I do. I MC during weekends. I run an events company. I've seen even presenters who have events companies.
Yeah.
So you declare. If you declare upfront, and we know that it's already a going concern. So now the employer is knowing that they are recruiting you, knowing that you have all these other ventures. Yeah, but the truth is, I'll tell you, the employees who want to grow in their careers, if you do not take time to focus and grow your career before you move into all these many ventures, what will happen is you become a jack of all trades, but master of none. So you need to master your skill. You need to refine your craft first before you can actually start venturing into many things. Because the truth is, you can make money. There are many ways you can make money, and that's why that hustle mentality is coming. There are many ways you can make money. But the truth is, you're a master of what? What do you want to be known for? Do you want to know Pauline today as the woman who sells eggs, chicken, and then you hear she's HR? You will get confused, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the thing is, focus, sell the thing that you want to be known for. Yeah, and even that's where mastery comes from, when you are focused and you have refined your craft. Yeah.
I love what you share. I love what you're sharing, Pauline. And I don't know for both of you if this is something you have you've experienced. I find that the generation today want to make it so quickly they don't stay in a place for long. I've even seen it here at Family Media. Somebody comes in, you know, they do their internship, they land a job, they don't even finish a year, they've gone to start their own thing. And I'm thinking, okay, is that wisdom or is that foolishness? I don't know what you think about that, Modoni, and if you've experienced the rush that the young people today are getting into.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. You know, we are coming from a place where we are seeing this new generation is instant. It's like the microwave generation.
Yeah.
You want to leave campus, graduate. The next day you want to drive a Mercedes-Benz.
Yes.
And a figure-digit salary and get a CEO or MD title, like within 24 hours. And I think it's absolutely preposterous. So for me, I have seen it quite a lot. And it's unfortunate because, as Pauline says, what are you mastering in that 1 year? There's the learning curve in employment is so steep, in any job actually, in any skill set, is so steep. I mean, I remember my days when I was employed. I worked for this multinational and we were in IT. Yes, I was marketing IT then. And it took me around 3 years to finally understand this is how the facets work in this organization.
Yeah.
So if I was so quick to, do 6 months or 1 year because, oh my God, there's another opportunity, or let me stop this now, I'm going to sell chicken or whatever, I wouldn't have made it for sure. So you stay at a job, be patient enough to master, because also God sees what you're doing. You become faithful in what he's given you, then he's bound to bless you in leaps and bounds. Somebody's watching you. Somebody's seeing how good you are.
Yeah.
They'll poach you. They'll absolutely poach you. Opportunities will land themselves on your lap. So for me, I say the duality of profession, which I think is also another name for the moonlighting, is yes, it's on the rise. But young people need to understand that good things take time. They need to be patient. They need to cultivate patience in what they're doing. Because I'll tell you what, it's easy for me as the CEO of an organization, as we're doing the interviews, I can tell you this guy won't last 2 months.
Wow.
This lady will not last 6 months. I can tell it even from the interview phase.
Yeah.
I can tell. You're not really sure what you want to do. You yourself, you're not self-assured. So you're coming to just kind of test the waters. When you hear your friends have gotten jobs in maybe bigger sounding companies,
Yes.
multinationals, you also now you want to compete, and therefore you jump ship. Meanwhile, we are seeing a rise in SMEs doing even better than some of the big name, the big brand name companies that we know of. And so what I'm just saying to young people, be patient, master, take your time in an organization, seek to learn, shadow people in the organization,
Yes.
so that you're good at what you do. So even when you switch to your moonlighting or your side hustle, you can bring something to your own table, right? So
Great.
that's my take on that.
Okay, shortly we'll talk about this. When there's nothing in your contract that says you can't start something on the side, and eventually you do, but it becomes an issue, is that ground enough for your employer to terminate your contract if you're not willing to let go of the other thing, but it was never in the contract that you can't do that? We'll talk about that shortly. It's all about employment. Nimesikia sasa inaitwa moonlighting, see your side hustle. Employment and moonlighting. Talk to me if you have any questions today. 20316 SMS line, WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. Financial Clinic. Today we are talking about employment and moonlighting stroke side hustling. I've got two amazing guests in studio with me today, HR expert and founder and CEO of Talent Gurus 254, Pauline Kiraithe, and also CEO Tilvera Consulting, Modoni Mushai, is with us today. If you have any questions, please send them in right now on 20316 for SMS and WhatsApp 0786 316 316. So Pauline, back to you. The question being, supposing there's nothing in the contract about not starting a side hustle or a moonlighting venture, whatever it is, but then you start one and then it becomes an issue. Is that grounds enough for your employer to terminate your contract?
If it's not in the contract, I think there are no grounds for it.
Okay.
But I think the only reason why an employer would be concerned is if there's a possible conflict of interest with the business that they are in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the other thing is that where they see for sure that it's actually distracting you from focusing on your work. Yeah. I don't think people are malicious for the sake of. Yeah. Though I know there are a few malicious human beings. Yeah. Not to be naive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, I think it's important when you're signing up, and that's why I said we have to be more discerning as employees. When you're joining a company, it's best to declare the things that you're doing that could present possible conflicts in future. Yeah. And so it's always good to declare it so that even if it ever comes up, you're able to say, you know what, I already declared this in the beginning. Yeah. Because I know there are organizations like banks. Yeah, banks are very sensitive around ventures because you're dealing with money. Maybe the business has busted. You need some working capital. There's money there. You're handling. Temptations are there. You're human. So that's why some organizations would prefer for you not to do side hustles. Yeah. So it's important to declare, even if it's not in the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that at least your employer knows what you're up to. But also remember, you have your discretionary time. The 8 hours. So you're able to use that time to do other things. But the thing is, they should not affect your work. So when you're at work, you're able to give your full attention to the work that you've been employed to do.
Okay. I'm just wondering how do you navigate through this, Modoni, because earlier on we talked about specializing. Yeah. So my craft is communication. I'm in the media. And if I'm to do anything else, it's going to be centered around communication and the media because that's what I'm good at. So how then do I navigate through that? A good example is this question that's coming in from a gentleman. He says, I work in a hospital pharmacy and I'm looking forward to starting my own community pharmacy. That's who I am. That's what I do. Is that a good idea? Is that workable? So how do you balance that? Because most likely there will be a conflict of interest.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all contracts, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Pauline, all contracts have a clause on conflict of interest. For sure. Yeah. That one is stated explicitly and must be adhered to, unfortunately. Whether you're so passionate about Anything else, that one I think is a non-negotiable for any employer. Number two, remember that the bedrock of any flexible working schedule or side hustle is trust.
Yes.
I, as an employer, can I trust that in your discretionary time, you are not, doing things that are against company policy, conflict of interest, that will not jeopardize our operations as an organization? The other thing I would find is misappropriation of the company's time or resources. Because what happens is, let's be honest, more often than not, employees will use company resources to sort of, drive their businesses, whether it is internet, at work, they're probably always up on social media posting. If you have a company phone with airtime, you're calling your customers from Kinangop, come pick up chickens here and there. Really, let's be honest. If you're in a setting where you're going physically to an office, you will use it to print out contracts and other things. So I think there's an ethical issue there that you as an employee, you're obligated to be ethical about how you're handling your side business. I think some sort of silent rules, but as we see how the world is going, a formal policy on side hustling in the contracts has to be considered. I feel it's something as an organization we're also thinking about. We work remotely almost 95% of the time. So as long as the employee is able to declare that this is what I'd like to do, we sit down and analyze, because at the end of the day, also as an employer, I want the best for you. I want you to be able to master your skill set. I want eventually your side hustle to be your main hustle, albeit it hurting my business. But from an individual perspective, I want you to grow. I want you to be better than you came into the organization. So there has to be a formal policy, honesty to the letter, and therefore we're able to agree this is what's permissible, this is what is permissible. Do we have an addendum to our contract if our initial contract was silent on the matter? So the other thing is, remember, as an employer, I can also tell if your productivity has reduced. You might be thinking you're on top of your game, that you're coming to work on time, you're logged in, I can see you're online, your video is on, maybe it's just a static banner. I can tell you're on, but I can tell you for sure, that you're not devoting reasonable time to your trade. And therefore, for me, that will be a concern, because the objective of hiring you was to get job A to Z done. And if that's not happening, then I might not find any need for you, unfortunately, in the workspace.
Okay. There are situations sometimes we get ourselves into, Pauline, where skill sets are concerned. And so I'm the graphic designer of the company, or I'm employed as a mechanic in a certain company, and I'm good at what I do. And so you have the clients who come to the company, they approach me on the side. I want you to come to my house and check out my car. Najua nikileta huko itakuwa pesa mingi. Or I need a logo, but I don't want to come to the farm, because if I do, you guys will charge me an arm and a leg, and I can only afford toes, not even the whole leg. So can you do this for me on the side? And so it gets to the point where the clients of the company become your clients. Is that morally right? How do you deal with that?
That's still an ethical issue.
Yes.
And it still boils down to why you should not get into the same trade of the job that you've been hired. So I know the thing is, you're working to gain experience, you're perfecting your craft while you're doing that job. And I know you will get very good at it. But I think when it's time, and when you feel that you have gained enough experience and you can stand on your own, it is best for you to step out and start your own venture. The fact that you're good and all these clients are coming to you, let me tell you, reality check.
Yes.
The day you start your company, those customers will not come to you. Customers are loyal to the business that they come to. And I'll give you a simple example for ladies. If you have a hair salonist, many of them, when they move from one salon to the other, they expect you to move with them. When you're younger, because you're looking for the best salonist, because he has the best skill, many people would move around with the hairdresser that they felt was very good because of his skill. But it gets to a point where you realize, you know what, you are not loyal to the person. You're loyal to the
Organization.
institution that's giving you the reliable service. And at some point, you know what, I can't keep moving around with saloonists from one place to the other. And so that's one thing you need to realize. People don't come to you because of you. It is the skill that you're offering and the structure and the environment you're delivering it through. So never ever get confused that people come to you because of your skill set. Yeah. So when you start your business, and obviously the venture will not be as good as where you are, those customers won't come to you. So it's important for you to be more realistic in terms of how you treat your customers. Because for me, I believe, do a good job. Give the best to your employer. When you're working for them. When you start your own venture, even those customers might consider you, as a possible supplier in future. Due to the fact that you did your work with credibility, you did not try to undercut your employer. Because all those practices are very unethical. You might be earning a buck here and too, but what happens is that you're watering down your credibility. You know that you cut corners. And obviously the thing about business is about trust. And I trust you that when I leave you with my car, I'm not going to remove the spare parts and put other things.
Very true.
It's about trust. So if I can see if you're doing shortcuts with your employer, for sure I know you'll do it when I leave you with my car. Your own venture, isn't it? So the thing is, be credible. Ensure that you are able to uphold your standards as well as your values when you're employed, and that is the thing that will actually earn you customers when you leave. That's the reason why people will follow you even if you start your own venture. But if you cut corners when you're employed, I can tell you, I can guarantee you, very few people will be able to follow you, because you've already burnt your bridges.
Wow, Elijah, keep going.
Just to echo what Pauline is saying, sometimes you find that because you're so diligent in what you're doing, that even when you move to start your own thing, the person who was your employer actually even wants to partner with you. You can become their agent if it was a business that required, the wholesale journey, and you become their agent. You can even become a silent partner. You can even get shares. So if, as she's saying, if you're not a person of integrity, if you don't have ethics, it will be very difficult to even have future business. Remember, the employer has been in the trade for a longer time than you have. So it will be to your detriment, actually.
Okay. Elijah, the graphic designer, says, when I was employed, I used to tell people that it will be hard doing work outside my company. And many times I was tempted, but I did it a few times, but I was very uncomfortable. And I think he got to a place where he decided to move out. Okay, it's about 16 minutes before we get to the top of the hour. That's 8. And if you have a question, this is the last call. Wanasemaga last call. Last call ya kuuliza maswali before we shut down the clinic at 8. So 20316 is the SMS line. WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. We are looking at employment versus moonlighting, aka side hustle. I'm hanging out with founder and CEO of Talent Gurus 254, also HR expert Pauline Kiraithe, and also CEO Trilvera Consulting and also marketing expert. This is Modhoni Mushai. If you have any questions for us, please send them in. Wangoi is asking, you remember when we began the conversation, Pauline, you told us that you will not be employed forever. Lazima ufikirie maisha ya hapo mbele. So Wangoi is asking, what about those of us who have no passion for moonlighting? Because not all people are created with that passion. Where does that leave us?
Yes. So, so for me, how I look at life, we have two halves. There's the first half and the second half of life. First half is between 25 to 40. And then 40 is where you hear of midlife crisis. People get into midlife crisis because you're starting your second half, and if you have not really thought through it, that's how the crisis happens. Then there's the second half, which is now 40 to about 65 or 70. So the thing about the first half is, this is where you are learning. This is where you acquire skills. This is where you expose yourself, to gain experiences. There's insights, and there are insights that you learn by doing. So that's how, and that's the reason why we work. You go to work so that you learn from others, and you learn from the industry. You learn industry insights. So that first half is for that. And hopefully, if you have been able to manage your career well, by the time you're getting to your 40s, you're actually at the peak of your career. You're at actually senior level. Because you have actually perfected your craft. You have gotten to the top, and you're in leadership. So by the time you're getting to your second half, the second half is all about, and this is the time now you're getting to your 50s. It's about where now you're meant to be moving to serving the community. You're meant to be serving the community. The reason we were given gifts is not for our own selfish benefit. We are all gifted differently. The gifts are meant to serve the community and serve others. So when you're getting to your 40s, 50s, this is where you're meant to be serving. And how you serve is through writing books of your experience. That's another way of how you will be earning your income, through books. Writing, sharing, mentoring, mentoring younger people. You can actually move into teaching, because now you're even teaching with hindsight. They say hindsight is 20/20. You're not teaching theory, but you're also teaching with practice, that practical knowledge. So the second half presents so many possibilities, that you're going to ride on the experiences, the skills that you acquired on your first half. So not everybody is meant to be a business person. So you can actually become a lecturer. You can become a person who coaches. You can be a therapist, counseling, coaching young people. So there are numerous opportunities with your second half, but you ride on to the experiences of your first half. I hope I've answered it.
Okay, great.
So that's why, as I was saying, with your discretionary time, use it now to develop skills that will enable you to ride smoothly to your second half.
Okay. Sometimes people lose a lot of money, Modoni, when they're trying to set up side hustles. Maybe you can talk to us a bit about some of the pitfalls that people don't see. Tumechukua kashamba hapo Narok, tumepanda ngano. Hallelujah. I've been there, my friend. And the money evaporated. I've never known till today what happened. Or somebody sijui ameshika kauba mahali, and no money is coming. You started a matatu because everybody says, matatu ziko na do. Kwanza kama ninganya, my friend, hey, you will be getting. So you throw your money in there, nothing comes back. So what are some pitfalls people need to be aware of, Modoni?
All right. So I call this the dark side of side hustling. Even before we get to money being lost, first of all, remember, you will be sleep deprived if you're focusing on your side hustle so much more than your discretionary time should allow. So you do your 8 to 5, you go back home and you're working till midnight. Then you remember at 4 a.m. I have a presentation I need to give, so let me prepare it because 8 to 5 I'm at work. You're going to get burnout. You're definitely not going to be able to focus properly at your workplace. This will be grounds for being fired for sure. If this continues. So you talked about money and investment. So just like any business, you must do research. You don't get into side hustling because everybody is having a side hustle. Just to maybe talk to Wangoi, you do not have to have a side hustle. Why do people do side hustles? For an extra and to generate an extra stream of income. You don't have to have a side hustle that takes your time. You can invest in the money market fund where your money works for you, even as you're having your primary job. So you don't have to get into Uber business or buy land and plant ngano and it backfires. You don't have to, because it's also very engaging and time consuming. So you can be clever about it. Is your hobby singing? Can you sing and get paid at a function? Things that won't kill you, things that won't take away from yourself and your employer. For me, I say, as long as you have purpose to be in employment, your employer is your number one priority at that point. That is where your bread is buttered. So you need to give 100%. The other dark side of hustling is that you get greedy. You get greedy, like, this is happening. Oh my, I need to keep doing this, and I keep doing this. Eventually, your side hustles become your main hustle, but you don't want to let go of the main hustle, and therefore the rest is history. And so is the job. Yeah.
Wow. As we wrap up, maybe you can share a bit of your journey, both of you. Pauline, I'm assuming at one point you were employed before you transitioned to do your own thing. How was that journey for you? What made you make that decision to jump out and start your own thing?
So I'm a true believer. I preach what I have practiced.
Yes.
So I worked for 21 years, non-stop. Yeah. I worked for employers. And the truth is, I never had a company. I never said those side hustles. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Reason being, I am a true believer of, yes, serving one master. Well, I'm at it. Yeah. And then for me, it got to the point where I felt I had acquired enough skill sets, enough experience, and I spent some time to discover what I wanted to do in my second half around my purpose. So I got to understand what I would be doing in my second half. And for me, I acquired the skill sets that I needed to do to enable me to transition into my second half. And that's what I did. Yeah. And then that's how I founded Talent Gurus. My passion is actually to help while I was in employment. And the interesting thing is when you work, you will find God will expose you to the thing that you're meant to be doing in future.
Yeah.
So like for me, when I was working, I discovered a lot of people were disgruntled in their jobs. They did not enjoy what they do. Yeah. And they were misplaced in the jobs that they are doing. So majority of us ended up doing degrees that were not aligned to what we currently do.
Yes.
So there's a lot of time wastage, there's a lot of brain drain, and a lot of resources that are wasted and in the process. So for me, I felt we needed to get an intervention that will help young people get to understand their skill sets and their passions from an early age so that they get into the right careers from the get-go. So that's what we do with our youth program, the Ignite program. And we also have a corporate program that's the Ascend Self-Leadership program that helps also people who are in corporate who do not enjoy their jobs. They feel stuck and they hate their jobs. They wake up every morning kicking and screaming and ask themselves why they are going to work.
Yes.
What we do is we help them align themselves to their areas of passion. I'm a true believer that if you operate from your area of strength and your passion area, that is the only place where we will be able to get innovators, we will get creators, we will get people who are passionate about what they do. And that's how we get to create new jobs many jobs for other people.
Wow.
That's what we do with Talent Gurus. Yeah.
I love that. Modoni, how about you? What led you to transition? Was it an easy journey? Was it a hard journey?
So unlike Pauline, I've worked for 13 years, but unlike her, I did my side hustles while I was employed. Maybe the last 5 of my working time.
Yeah.
So for me, what inspired that was I realized I'm very passionate about teaching. And so when I went back to school to do my master's that time, I got teaching opportunities. And the teaching opportunities got me some extra money, but it wasn't in competition with my marketing job, right? So in fact, I felt I was bringing industry practice into the classroom, from the boardroom to the classroom, as I like to put it. The other thing I found was that as the years rolled by and now I get into a place where it's time to start a family, I realized I can actually do a consultancy because I'm so passionate about marketing, branding, strategies, all that. Why not just try? But I'd already begun. So I said, no, it's time to quit employment, get into business, and I've been doing that for the last 6 years with no regret. And
Awesome.
even as I'm running my organization, I am still teaching, and I'm back in school doing my doctorate. So you're seeing so many things are overlapping, but you need to be able to. I still need to be faithful to my number one, which is Tilvera Consulting. I can't let these other things get into the way. So time management and all that. So Tilvera Consulting is a marketing firm. We do marketing strategies. We do brand advisory. And right now we're doing virtual conferencing and specifically for the healthcare industry. So we found ourselves doing a lot of healthcare marketing at such a time as this. So for me, I feel we are made for this, and I feel this is God's purpose for my life. That whatever skill sets I honed in the boardroom in my about 13 to 15 years in employment in several multinationals, I have brought home to an SME, and I'm trying to cultivate the same in the companies that give us work or are part of our organization.
Wow.
So for me, I encourage people, if you can have a side hustle that's not in competition with your main job, go for it. Hone your skill set. When you feel you're ready to leave the nest, tell your employer goodbye and thank you, but maintain that relationship. Go out and do you.
Awesome. Pauline and Modoni, thank you so much for your time today. Mumetushanora, my friends. We feel now we are better equipped where these manenos of moonlighting are concerned. May the Lord bless you. That's all the time we have for the clinic today. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Tomorrow, I've got something special for you. Tomorrow, Family Media will be celebrating 22 years of being on air. I get to hang out with my boss. I get to interview him. That is going to be interesting. Make sure you tune in. Have yourselves a great day.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.